Now, the Jehovah Witnesses, in all of their publications and magazines, they present the Israelites, God, the angels, and so-called Jesus Christ as red peoples. And so you see in the picture, they have the peoples at the bottom that's all mixed with different nationalities. But once you get to the top, it's no different nationalities up there. Every angel is a red man. And then you got Jehovah on the right hand of the throne. He's a red man. And you can't even see the Most High. Now, in Daniel, an unsymbolic book, you see, because they like to, when you go to Revelation and read the appearance of Jehovah, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, they want to say, oh, well, that's talking in signs and symbols and all this mess. So you go to Daniel chapter 10, verse 5, it gives a description of Jehovah. And it says in verse 5, it says, then I lifted mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins was girded with fine gold of Uphaz. Verse 6. This is in Daniel 10 and 6. His body also was like the bearer, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as the lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. Though the voice of his words was like the voice of a multitude. Now when you jump over to chapter 7 of Daniel, it gives you the Most High's appearance and how he looks. And it don't match Jehovah, who's the image of his father. Daniel 7, it says, verse 9, I beheld till the throne was cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head were like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels are burning fire. Okay, when you go to the Ezekiel, the first chapter, and you get the angels in Ezekiel chapter 1, starting at verse 7, chapter 1 verse 7, and say, and their feet were straight feet, the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, they sparkled like the color of polished brass. You see, the angels sparkle like the colors of burnished brass, burnished brass. And then you got verse 13 of Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 13 says, as for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire. So he's saying the appearance was like coals. And we know coals are dark black and burning. You see? So these individuals, whatever pictures they got going on, it is not according to the Bible about the appearance of the angels and Yahweh, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, and Yahweh, who they ignorantly call Jehovah. So these individuals are blaspheming the Holy Spirit. The Spirit is the words that's coming out of this book, coming out of this Bible. When you get St. John chapter 6, 63, it say, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit. You see, so these words that Yahweh was speaking to us, they are spirit in itself. And so when you making pictures And lying on the pictures used blasphemy in the Holy Spirit, and it was always known that the Antichrist was going to do this, and these red dragons was going to do this, put themselves up as the angels and as Jehovah and the Israelites. When you go to 1 Corinthians, 14, Salakia, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14. Well, let's start at 13. 2 Corinthians 11:13, it say, "For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ." 14 say, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." And so this is how these dragons, Jehovah wickedness, transform themselves into the angels of light. You see, they got a bunch of red dragons up there, but then they put the Israelites and the other nations down at the bottom. When you go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, let's just get to the point. Chapter 2, verse 4, talking about the man of sin and the son of perdition. Verse 4 say, "Who opposed and exalted himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sit in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." Showing himself that he is God. Verse 8, and this is in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8, "And then shall that wicked," see, that wicked goes back to Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. "Esau have I hated, Edom I have an indignation forever for Edom. They are the border of wickedness." That's why in verse 8 say, "And then that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth." That's why in John 6:63 it talked about the spirit, with the words that he spoke was going to be spirit, because these words I'm speaking out of these scriptures are the spirit of Jehovah and the Holy Spirit, and is identifying who the wicked is, that wicked. In verse 9 it say, "Even him," talking about the son of perdition, the son of the man of sin, that wicked, it say, "Even him whose coming is after the workings of Satan." See, the adversary, Satan, "with all power, signs, and lying wonders." You see, that's what the wicked do. They lie. And in verse Malachi, it tells you that Esau is the border of wicked, the nation of Edom. And the nation of Edom is running the Jehovah wickedness organization, pushing these blasphemous lies onto the Israelites and the rest of the world. When you go to Revelation, it gives you another description of Jehovah, who they got in the middle. It says in verse 14, to get to the point, "His head and his hairs was white like wool." Now this guy, he got goat hair. Esau had goat hair. When you go to Genesis chapter 27, verse 11, his mother put goat hair, goat straight hair on his head, because it was different from Jacob, Jehovah's bloodline. It was different from those people who had hair that was woolly, like it gives Jehovah here in verse 14 in Revelation chapter 1. And in 15 saying, "His feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace." So his feet and his body was looking like they burnt it in a furnace, and it was brass, fine brass, and his hat was woolly. So that describes who they call the so-called black man in America, or the Negroes, or the descendants of slaves here in America, along with the Native Americans, and the so-called Hispanics. And these are the Israelites. These are who Yahweh came to save. And these Jehovah wickedness is pushing their blasphemous white supremacist lies worldwide. But I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. The kingdom is at hand. Shalom.